The man with $4.6 billion to his name, Jack Dorsey, has just predicted that he believes that we're going to see a $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. Now, today I'm going to explain why I might be related to why he just got attacked by some federal prosecutors in the US. Now, again, you guys know I love to connect the dots when they're there or when the dots are not there. So we're going to be doing all that and more in today's video. So most people would know Jack Dorsey yesterday came out and predicted he'd expect to see a $1 million Bitcoin price prediction. But what most people missed regarding Jack Dorsey was this announcement that happened only 1 week ago. You guys can see the date of this headline, May 3rd, 2024. Jack Dorsey's company Block is now under federal scrutiny, geez, I can't say that word, over regulatory compliance. What is going on? Well, we can see here, federal prosecutors have launched an investigation into Jack Dorsey's firm, focused on alleged compliance failures with its digital assets portfolio. Okay, these investigations have supposedly shed light on potential violations ranging from sanctions evasions to facilitating transactions for terrorist groups. How ridiculous are these claims? But this is what Jack Dorsey got accused of on May 4th. Now, what happened on May 3rd? Only 1 week ago again. Well, Jack Dorsey actually came out and he said, here at Block, I'm going to put 10% of my company's profits into Bitcoin every single month. So pretty sure I got a headline to show you that. Maybe I don't, but you're going to have to take me at my word. Don't trust, verify. But again, what's the timing of all these events? Why does Jack Dorsey's company get attacked the day after he announces we're going to be putting 10% of our profits into Bitcoin every month? Why has the same not happened to MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor? Interesting. Okay, again, very, very interesting coincidental timing of events. I'm just going to plant those seeds and move on to what happened today. Well, yesterday, Jack Dorsey says Bitcoin price will go to $1 million in 2030. Okay, now I tried my darnest. I tried my best to find the video of Jack Dorsey making this prediction. Okay, we're going to have to stick with this article for now. But he says his outlook aligns with that of other industry leaders. Again, let's not forget, other industry leaders have also made massive Bitcoin price predictions. Cathie Wood has also predicted she expects to see a $1.5 million Bitcoin by that time in 2030. And she's even more recently increased her Bitcoin price prediction more recently this year. But this was the best that I could find, okay, regarding, I couldn't quite find the video of Jack Dorsey making this prediction, but I did find this, what looks to be a 10,000 word interview article dropped on this website called Pirate Wires on May 9th, 2024. So 2 days ago, okay, and as you can see, it's a long one. We're just going to scroll and scroll and scroll. I wasn't joking, guys, when I said it was about a 10,000 word puppy. But right at the very end of this article, we can see that the reporter asks the Bitcoin question. So they say, what will be the price of Bitcoin in 2030? Jack laughed and he says, I don't know. Over at least $1 million. I do think it hits that number and goes beyond. But I think price is only interesting. The most amazing thing about Bitcoin, apart from the founding story about Satoshi Nakamoto, is anyone who works on Bitcoin or gets paid in Bitcoin or buys Bitcoin for themselves, everyone who puts any effort into it to make it better increases the benefit on the entire ecosystem, which makes the price go up. Again, it's that feedback loop. That self-perpetuating feedback loop, that is what is interesting. And Jack says, it's a fascinating ecosystem and movement. More than anything else, it taught me a lot. Okay, so again, this is interesting. I don't know if it's related or not to what happened early in the week on May 2nd and May 3rd regarding Jack being investigated by federal prosecutors or not. You can see I tweeted out and I said, coincidence or not? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. And lots of people thought it was at least interesting. Let's say that much. And now, again, let's not forget, Jack isn't just some any old billionaire. He's got $4.6 billion of cuck bucks. Okay, so he's an influential figure. For federal prosecutors to come after him, I think it's an interesting story to at least keep an eye on. and kind of have a look at, what exactly is happening. Now, I couldn't find you a video for Jack Dorsey's most recent Bitcoin price prediction, but I did find you a video that I want to show you. And I think it's an interesting one because it kind of talks about his vision for Bitcoin and his long-term vision for Bitcoin. And we're going to be talking about, why he potentially left Twitter to focus more of his time on Bitcoin and address those rumors. But I want to first play you a clip from this little video here that I found for you guys. I think it's a great one. This is an interview between Jack Mallers and Jack Dorsey. So check it out.
The biggest one being the double spending problem. You have to make sure that money is not spent twice. And the way we've solved that in the past is to have a bank, to have a centralized institution say that this particular piece of bullion or fiat has already been spent. And entire companies grew out of that, like Visa and MasterCard and all the banks, obviously. And that was a very, very hard problem to solve. And Satoshi solved it and did so in a very clever way that enabled people with their own resources to prove that they were able to create this value and do so in under a policy that was visible through source code, through C++. And seeing that was just like mind blowing. Like I was just, it was just incredible to bear witness to it. Code is policy, this transparent proof of work system fitted those theories and fitted, that mindset. And as you keep going forward, you look at like this hammer that you have in Bitcoin and all the nails around you, and maybe the issues with the Fed are one such nail, and maybe the military-industrial complex is another such nail. Maybe world peace is another such nail, because
See, Jack's kind of saying the quiet parts out loud there. He's talking about the military-industrial complex. He's talking about world peace. And a lot of people speculated, hey, why did Jack leave Twitter? Was it because he thought that there were bigger issues in the world to focus on? Well, we can see here, we throw back to June 2021. Jack said that he would leave Square and Twitter for Bitcoin if it needed me and more. And we do know that since this has happened, Jack obviously did leave Twitter, and it is now in the hands of everybody's favorite, Elon Musk. Okay. And again, I think that, I don't know, is this related to a tweet that went mega viral that Jack popped out in 2021? Most people will remember this. Hyperinflation is going to change everything. It's happening. And a lot of people have given Jack a lot of flack for that tweet. But I think it's been more directionally correct than any of your MMT, people. Lots of people last year said, the Fed's shrinking its balance sheet. It's raising interest rates at the fastest rate in history. This is going to crash Bitcoin, and we're going to see outright deflation, and we're going to see the biggest depression that we've seen since, the 1920 Great Depression. And since then, we haven't seen that at all. We've seen inflation bottom out at 3%, and it actually looks as if it's going to begin rising again. And if you look at the rest of the world, we are seeing countries who are experiencing hyperinflation. Okay, in 2021, when Jack made that tweet, Argentina's inflation wasn't at the 200 odd percent that it is at today. Okay, Argentina's essentially seen hyperinflation. Okay, we have other countries like Turkey, Pakistan, massive countries, Nigeria, significantly suffering from inflation. Okay, so again, I think this tweet's an interesting one. I think it's one that, I think has got a lot of flack undeservedly, because I think it has been a lot more directionally correct than what you will see coming out of CNBC. The CNBC will tell you, don't worry, Anon, just go to work. Everything's affordable. Inflation's transitory. That's the kind of BS narratives you see being floated out of these quote unquote news articles, news outlets like CNBC. And I just think that, this is BS. And I think that despite them dunking on Jack a while ago, I think, I don't think people are prepared for exponential change. This is kind of what I want to talk about. I want to talk a little bit more about exponential change because people think about, $1 million Bitcoin. It's going to take ages to happen. But I think things can happen a lot quicker than most people expect them to happen. And I do want to talk about exponential change in a moment. I want to check on the live chat. We have a lively live chat going on. We got Alan in the chat. Good to see Alan. I remember communicating you a long time ago, my friend. I won't dox you, but good to see you in the chat. All Night Hard is in the chat. Johnny Midas in the chat. We got a ton of regulars. Austin's in the chat. Very nice. We have my shitcoin moderator in the chat. Austin always makes sure there's no shitcoining going on in there. Let's have a look at this and why I think $1 million Bitcoin could come a lot quicker than most people think, okay? We all know technologies get adopted in exponential curves. That's nothing special. I did find this new chart today. It's pretty cool. And I might even get producer Pam to make one of these for us here on the channel. Maybe use some brighter colors. But as you can see, every technology, whether it be the telephone, the radio, color TV, VCR, cell phones, computers, or the internet, they've all been adopted in these very, very exponential waves of adoption. We know that, okay? Bitcoin is a technology. Most people expect it will be adopted by the the masses of society, but nobody really thinks about Bitcoin exponentially like I think we should be thinking about it, okay? And when you do think about Bitcoin exponentially, you can see that things could happen pretty quickly. Okay, now I disagree with the specific numbers on this chart here, but what it shows you is that once an inflection point is reached, adoption goes exponential. That's the key takeaway. And I like this chart because visually it's nice and bright. Okay, ignore the exact numbers on it because I personally disagree with them. And I'm a bull tard. You guys know that myself. But again, I think this is a more accurate representation of where we are in Bitcoin's life cycle. Below 1% adoption. Things are going to go exponential. And as Pumbaa says it in the chat, I love to say that name, huge wealth transfer is incoming. The definition of HODL has not yet been realized. I couldn't agree more with those comments. I think we are on the precipice of the biggest wealth transfer in human history. I don't even think it's a debatable opinion. I just think that's true. Bitcoin is a new emergent technology. It has the biggest total addressable market cap of any technological revolution that's gone mainstream in our society. It's going to be the biggest wealth transfer. It's the digitization of value. We've never seen this before in history. And I think a lot of people aren't prepared for it because I think it's going to happen exponentially. Very, 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 very exponentially. And I think it's going to happen quicker than most people think. Okay, I think it's going to happen really, really quick. Now, again, this is a pretty chart. Didn't have time to remake it myself. So just ignore the big dirty word on top of the chart, cryptocurrency trading and investment adoption curve. But it is just kind of showing you how the type of buyer is different and who is now getting into Bitcoin today, okay? We are fundamentally seeing a different kind of buyer today. In 2008, it was just Bitcoin developers. 2013, it's just cypherpunks, libertarians, a couple of very small businesses, and we got the first couple of exchanges and OTC desks. Then the 2017 cycle was kind of the first time we saw large retail investors and retail interest and traders and venture capital funds. That was kind of the first time we saw that in a decent size. Then in 2020, we saw what I believe was an inflection point in Bitcoin's history. We saw global macro funds, risk-on family offices. We saw one of America's oldest insurance funds, Mass Mutual. We saw MicroStrategy, first public company to put Bitcoin on its balance sheet. Okay, and I think, as you can see, each year, things are changing. Financial advisors, bankers, now we've got the largest institutions, BlackRock, Fidelity, they're all here. They're all buying Bitcoin. As we discussed earlier today in a live stream over on the bitcoinnews.com YouTube channel, even JP Morgan is buying Bitcoin. The guy who's been bashing on Bitcoin for nearly a decade, okay? Jamie Dimon has been bashing on Bitcoin for years and years and years, and even he has quietly bought some Bitcoin. If you missed that live stream, again, I'm not pulling those figures out of my ass. This is true. Probably shouldn't be saying that word on a Saturday afternoon, friendly kid-friendly live stream. I apologize if anyone's got the kids watching this one at home. But as you can see, this is a disclosure from America's largest bank, JP Morgan Chase, in a disclosure to the SEC. And as you can see, they're holding iShares, they're holding Bitwise, they're holding Fidelity. They've got their hands on a ton of Bitcoin ETF products. We're not going to rehash that. We discussed that earlier on in the day. I just think it's interesting that Jack Dorsey is in the news a lot over the past couple of weeks. This article dropped in Fortune, April 25th, only 2.5 weeks ago now. Jack Dorsey's Block, I think it's actually one of the most interesting companies in the entire world, really. The only other companies that I think are more interesting than Block is MicroStrategy, MetaPlanet, and boy, we're going to be talking about MetaPlanet in a future video because I don't know if you guys knew it or not, but I'm going to give you guys, the loyal live stream viewers, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. And I'm going to show you what I've been keeping my eyes on recently. As you can see here, you guys will know because we've talked about MetaPlanet. They're a small company in Japan, and they actually bought, what was it, about $6.5 million worth of Bitcoin. And at the time, they were only a $15 million market cap company-ish. So they put about 30% of what their market cap is into Bitcoin. Okay. And a lot of people thought, they're a small company. They're a Japanese company. Who cares? MetaPlanet. They use buzzwords in their website, and they do. Okay. Again, I'm not simping for anyone. Slay your heroes. I agree with all of that, but they do have some buzzwords in their websites like Web3 and stuff like that. But guess what they've done recently? Have a look at this. Dylan Leclerc tweets out and he says, I'm thrilled to be joining MetaPlanet, a public company, as Director of Bitcoin Strategy. What a job title. It's brilliant. I was jokingly telling Pam the other day, but I was very serious. Every single company will need a Director of Bitcoin Strategy eventually in the future. It's only time. It's only math. There's 58,000 public companies out there. And so again, I'm getting, you guys know I get lost on tangents all the time, but I think Block is one of the most interesting companies in the world, okay? The only more interesting companies are, of course, MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor, and of course, I think MetaPlanet's very interesting, and I have a pretty deep dive of a live stream planned for you guys that we're going to get into. I also talked about MetaPlanet in a recent Substack article. It's free, my Substack, so check it out if you want to check it out. Producer Pam has linked that one in the chat for you guys. So check that out. I normally only do those once a week or once every 2 weeks. I only really do them if I feel like there's a story there that's really piqued my interest. So again, I think everybody's getting lost in headlines, and I think they're losing the signal. Okay, we have more and more companies buying Bitcoin for their balance sheet, and there is today less than 2 million Bitcoin sitting on exchanges for sale. Okay, so again, I think the billionaire FOMO race to accumulate Bitcoin has begun. And now that we have Jamie Dimon also engaged in that race alongside other billionaires like Jack Dorsey, MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor, Ricardo Salinas, Paul Miller, Cathie Wood, you can go on and on and on and on. There's so many successful people in Bitcoin today. So again, I think I'm going to end that live stream there today, guys. I'm still sick and burnt out, hence why I haven't done many live streams over the past week. I'm back in Argentina as well, so a lot of traveling. So I apologize if I've been a little bit less active on the YouTube over the past few days. If you missed it, and if you do want some more YouTube juice, I went live on the Bitcoin News YouTube channel 1 hour ago. You can see it. We talked about Jamie Dimon's Bitcoin backflip, and we've done a couple of other live streams this week. So again, if you guys missed that, check it out. Thank you so much for All Night Hider, all your continued support. And Johnny, you as well, brother. Really appreciate it. I am very sick, actually, Austin. A 19-minute and 42-second live stream. That's a short one. I've run out of gas. I'm going to go get a masahi, as you call it here in Argentina. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will be coming live for you guys tomorrow. And until then, see you then.